It's Friday here on the sportshacks.com, and that means, as always, our weekly review and chat about League of Ireland football. The League of Ireland footballers left in Dublin Airport last Saturday en masse, as Damien Duff might have suggested on Virgin Media the previous week. But they're all due back, I think, over this weekend. No rest for us here at the sportshacks.com, so I'm delighted, as always, to welcome Daryl Geraghty. Daryl, you're very welcome back again to Let's Talk Football on the sportshacks.com. Week off for the footballers, but not a week off for stories on and off the pitch.
No, absolutely not. No, it's a constant news cycle, isn't it? Really, no matter what, if they're playing on the pitch or off, there's always something happening. So
And that's what,
yeah, good to be back.
as Damien Duff says, that's what makes it the greatest league in the world, and he says that repeatedly. So who are we to argue with a man as honoured as Damien Duff? We're going to have a quick look
Exactly.
back, first of all, Daryl, at what happened before those boarding cards were issued and the sunscreen was taken to Dublin Airport and the lads went off on their holidays. But last Friday night, once again, Shamrock Rovers against St. Patrick's Athletics. Shamrock Rovers, the big winners over the weekend. And Graham Burke, again, showed his class.
He did that. Porky fella's a good player, isn't he?
Not bad.
He's not bad. This goal was like out of this world, wasn't it? So he just makes everything look so easy, so casual. The way he sweeps the ball, and yeah, I mean, once it was on there's no stopping that, was there? Outrageous goal.
And it was great again. Stephen Bradley after was saying how much Graham is an inspiration to the young players of Shamrock Rovers. And if we just look at the Irish squad that's gone off to Canada, because there's Matt Healy, Adam Brennan, Ed McGinty are gone on that plane. There's Josh O'Reilly who's gone as a training player, so to speak, and we'll talk about him a little later on. But to have a player, we've spoken about this, to have Pico Lopez, to have Jack Byrne, to have Graham Burke in and around you when you're an aspiring young player, when you're looking for the standards that you need to reach to be a professional footballer in the League of Ireland and indeed in England, as Graham was. But he is that role model, isn't he?
Yeah, there's no one better to learn off, really, because he's at the end of that journey that they all wish they had, and even within the club itself, not many of them will have a journey like that or a career as high as that across the water either. So, and obviously the international cap, a senior level. So, yeah, I mean, there's no better one to learn from, and the way he handles himself, the way he manages himself through the seasons, even with his injury record, he seems to get on top of that. So, yeah, like he's just a different class, isn't he?
We said it was a statement win with a last-minute goal the previous Monday against Bohemians open in Dalymount Park. Demolition derby, I call it, because it's the last game in Dalymount before it gets knocked down. But there was a bit of a statement about this win against Pats as well. I mean, Rovers are now 6 points clear going into the break.
Yeah, that's it. It's the best place to be, obviously. But again, it's like putting a foot on the neck of the opponent. They're the ones that are really trying to catch up on Rovers. But from the past point of view, then it's just, I don't know if it's like a fear factor they have, or is it a mental block? Going, they need something to go their way, maybe to beat Rovers and get over that mental block to say, yeah, we actually can beat them, we actually can pull them back. Whereas what we're seeing is a bit of inconsistency, and they're on fire one week and they struggle to hit the back of net the next week. But from Rovers' point of view, yeah, look, that's ideal. Like, I think even Bradley said himself, that win over Bows and Pats, you don't win the league at this stage of the season, but they're the games that win you the league, basically. So, and that summed up pretty well.
And it was such a response as well to losing at home to Sligo Rovers. Again, albeit with a last-minute goal, but to lose at home to Sligo and then come back and beat Bohemians in Dalymount and beat St. Pat's in Tala. We should mention as well, of course, that Joseph Anang is off to the World Cup, the St. Patrick's Athletic goalkeeper. And again, everybody has celebrated Pico Lopez. I see a very cheeky ad knocking around the city this week from Paddy Power, who are talking about the 2001 shot for the World Cup with a Dublin-born centre back, without naming the team or the player, because they're not allowed. They're a betting company, etc., as we know.
Yeah.
But Joseph Anang as well. I mean, it's great for him. He's not Dublin-born like Pico, but he is representing the League of Ireland and St. Patrick's Athletic and Inchicore and McDowell's now that it's open again when he goes out to the World Cup.
That's it, yeah. And for even the kids going to watch, to know that we see him up close every week, and to know that he's going to be on the TV in front of millions and the biggest stage, even if he plays or doesn't play, to know that he's there and have that representation of the league and from yourself or the club you love, Like, it's a brilliant story. I know, I think he's history maker, is he, for Pats now, the
Mm.
first Pats player to go. So, I mean, to have that record is something special, and he does have that connection to the club as well himself. So, that's brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So, wish him all the best.
Joseph Endo played in the World Cup and then came to the League of Ireland. These
Yep.
guys have played in the League of Ireland and are going to the World Cup, both Pico and Joseph. And it does do so much for the league. I mean, as you know, Pico has been inundated with requests for interviews from all over the world, and they all want to know about his Shamrock Rovers career, about growing up in Crumlin, about playing in the league. So again, it's such a promotional tool, and it's such an inspiration to kids to say, look, I can play in the League of Ireland and go to the World Cup.
Yeah, definitely. It's putting the league on that pedestal around the world to say, okay, so we have players from this league in the World Cup. The league might be pretty good, or it's selling the league. We're great at selling the league. And this is like an ideal opportunity to jump all over the World Cup, and yeah, just like, I think, go and sell it to the younger players at clubs, to say, like, this pathway is here to the very, very top. You don't have to go X, Y, and Z, or this country or that country. There is actually a pathway here. Um, so, like, it's just amazing, and really hope, excuse me, the league gets that promotion, and that it actually deserves as well.
And it's going to help as well about Pats and Rovers when they're looking to bring players in from abroad, maybe when the transfer window opens this summer, or maybe at the end of the year when they're looking to recruit, but to show the pathway that you can get from the League of Ireland to the World Cup, and even the fact that there are League of Ireland players whose the club names are going to be against their names on the match programs, on the TV stations, etc., all during the World Cup. So we look forward to a very successful World Cup for the League of Ireland. And 2001 Cape Verde, but Spain in the first game. If you're going to see a World Cup upset, Daryl, I'm old enough to know this. It's normally just around the
Yeah,
first game, so you never know
and
for Pico.
I think even Spain are notoriously slow starters,
Mm.
and they won it. Did they lose to Switzerland or
Yeah,
someone
and
first game? So,
Yamal isn't playing, and
and yeah,
you won't get 2001 on Cape Verde for that match. I think the 2001 might be to win the World Cup, and even I wouldn't bet the communion money on that. And the communion money is pounds, shillings, and pence at this stage. Looking back
definitely.
again at Friday night, but Bohemians, I mean, they had to bounce back from that last minute goal against Rovers, and they did. And they scored relatively early for them. They scored inside the first half hour up in Sligo. Looking at the highlights, there wasn't really a doubt about that result, was there?
No, and the fact that you mentioned they scored early was the initial thought we had as well when I was speaking to other people on Friday. Was like, oh no, had they scored too early again? But these were the teams they struggled at home against at the lower end of the league, to break down, sitting in the low block, maybe the five at the back. Um, so to get the goal early really helped them, because that means Sligo have to come out and play. It was great. Yeah, it was a hugely positive. Good character from Bowes as well to bounce back, and the two strikers getting a goal each is another positive. Harry Vaughan playing in the 10 when he got kind of playing the central role. He got his two assists as well, rewarded with a call up to the 21s. He's been in good form and he's getting a chance. So yeah, all round very positive night, and throws him up the second. So as Alan Reynolds put to me the last time I spoke to him, I said, you're back in the title race now, and he goes, well, were we ever out of it? And I walked away then. So
That is Rainy. That's Rainy to a T. Waterford,
it is.
they've the top scorer in the league in Tommy Lonergan. Yeah, for bottom of the league. I mean, 3-3 draw and draw. Tommy got one of the fastest goals ever inside the first minute in that game. They had to rely on another late equaliser, Waterford, to get a point. But they've 11 points now, and I think Graham Coughlin has been responsible for 5 of them since he took over from John Daly. So, that's a better result for Waterford than it is for Drogheda. And Kevin, our old friend, will be pulling his hair out again.
That's it. He won't talk to us much longer if we keep going on about it. But it was a crazy match. Probably the game of the night, without a doubt. It was. But you can see the improvement from the home side. Especially at home, they're building a reputation of being tough to break down at times when they then hit with Tommy. But again, it's interesting. I think the idea was, when he came in, was get them within touching distance to the teams ahead of them, and then strengthen, like we mentioned before. And keeping Tommy Lonergan is just I mean, I'm sure a number of teams will be knocking on his door saying this kid must be something special if he's top scorer for the bottom side in the league. So keeping him is imperative. But I think the job so far is being good. You can see an improvement. You can see them actually working on a plan and trying to be hard to break down. Whether the quality is there or not will be improved in the window, which we've been told. So yeah, between strengthening and keeping Tommy Lonergan is they be the two things you should be really working on now between now and the window.
The window is going to be interesting up in Derry, and we don't want to be speculating about a manager's job, but we've said this before. You know, Dundalk win the game. Tiernan Lynch would appear to be under pressure again. There's talk of him lining up players in the transfer window, but Arne Slot was lining up players in the transfer window as well, and look where he is now. But you know, Derry fans aren't going to put up with this much longer, are they?
No, and I think we mentioned before the away fans aren't travelling. The supporters clubs aren't travelling to see them. I think last Friday was officially maybe 50
Mm.
tickets sold to away fans if even, and it was 35 was that in Talca Park a few weeks ago as well. So it's obviously making their point. They're not supporting it. They don't back the manager. It seems like it's gone at this stage, but I thought now at this window is like the window in England in October, November, the international window, when managers are under pressure, they make a break when they have a couple of weeks to get their feet under the table. But again, you don't want to speculate about a man losing his job either. So it's
It's
going to be a long 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's some turnaround though. If there's only 35 fans traveling with Derry City, I mean, back in the day
Yeah,
they've had 35 coaches full of fans or 50 coaches full of fans.
exactly. Yeah.
It's an indictment of what's going on, and it will be interesting to see how that works out when they get back into action after this break. Talca Park again, Shelburne home draw, resolute Galway. John Caulfield, we said it. He'd know what to do. He'd know how to get a result. And you know, is there a course in Talca?
I don't know. I feel like a broken record, or I feel like it's deja vu every time I go down. You can have your match report almost written before kickoff. Shells will play well, they'll have a lot of the ball, create chances, not put it away, and concede from a set piece. And I was talking to even people down on Friday and saying the same things. Like at home, you're playing 1-0 down every week, basically. And I keep telling even the other journalists that were there, I was like, yeah, but Galway haven't scored their set piece yet. And not even 10 seconds after his introduction, you see the goal from a set piece unmarked in the 6-yard box, pure free header. It's just so basic. Joe, Joey O'Brien blamed a corner before that shouldn't have been given. That then led to the second corner, which they scored from. And I think even the fans are starting to see through those excuses. It's hard to take serious, but it's the same thing every week. Galway United deserved their point. Absolutely, they dug in when they had to. They looked at threat. The only worry from the Galway point of view was the lack of creativity in their open play. They're good at structure, getting players up on the back 4 or 5 of Shells, but getting the ball out wide, there's someone moving the ball quicker to create opportunities. It didn't seem to be there, so you couldn't really see them scoring a couple more.
But again,
Poor Shells,
yeah,
but
again, it's going to be
yeah,
interesting to see how they operate during the transfer window and see if anybody comes into Galway over the summer. But we will be keeping an eye on
yeah,
that. We spoke about Dublin Airport on Saturday and lads heading off on Ibiza and Mallorca or wherever else they were going, and no doubt a few of them were looking at the gaff fella going off to Love Island and wondering what was going on there. But I haven't watched a bit of it and I don't care. So anyway, there you go. But there was
oh,
other League of Ireland players getting on a plane, Air Canada or off to Canada with Ireland. I think Aer Lingus provided the plane to be fair to them. But Dawson Devoy, Keane Levy, Conor Brand, Adam Brennan, Matt Healy, and Ed McGinty. Like I don't think I've missed. Sorry, the one I have missed. Anthony Elding, ex Sligo Rovers. He's not in the league anymore, but of course he's with Hibernian, and he's training with the squad as he gets his passport sorted out. And a 16-year-old from Shamrock Rovers. Obviously, he's heading off to Red Bull soon enough. But Josh O'Reilly at 16, he could become the youngest ever Irish player if he gets on the pitch against Canada. Now, I think that might be a bit far fetched, but it's great for him to get that experience. But Dawson Devoy, Keane Levy, Conor Brand, Adam Brennan, Matt Healy, and Ed McGinty. that is unprecedented, Daryl, to have six League of Ireland players. And then we had ex-League of Ireland players obviously in the squad out in Spain a couple of weeks ago, and Jack Moylan again, thought he was unlucky to get sent off, by the way, last week.
Oh, disgraceful.
Um, so it is interesting, but my worry for these players is we're building up false hope for them, and we're almost building up false positivity about the league. Because I do think come September, when we have Kosovo and we have Austria and potentially that team that we don't talk about because everybody seems to want to do something except the FAI and move that game at least out of Ireland, if not off altogether. But how many of those six do you think realistically can feature come September?
I think, like we mentioned last time, a lot of the regulars will have their pre-season under their belts when the international comes around. I can't see, maybe, I know it's negative, but I don't see any of them really being involved unless they make a super statement this week in training and in the game itself. You have to go to Jack Moylan levels of, you have to score a hat trick on your debut to be in any sort of recognition. Again, they can have such good seasons here, but when the regulars get back from England and that, it's hard to see them breaking through. But you're hoping that they can use Jack Moylan as that inspiration to say, look, if I make a good impression, then I can actually stay within the thinking even,
Mm.
because many years before we weren't even in the thinking. The conversation, if you played in Ireland, just no thanks, like you weren't even thought of. So I take it as a positive that we're being thought of and being included in, say, we as the league. And then we have that kind of Jack Moyle inspiration to go, we
And
can make an impression straight away.
yeah, and to be fair, I have to be fair here. Heimer Helgumsen, he was getting bashed for not looking at League of Ireland players. He was getting bashed for not going to games early on. He was getting bashed for not including, we were hearing Alan Reynolds talking about Dawson Devoy. We were hearing Stephen Bradley
Yeah,
talking about, everybody from Victor to Ed McGinty, etc. So he has listened and he has taken action, and himself and his coaches have taken note of who's in the league. But I just wonder, is it ultimately going to end up back in the old days that Dawson Devoy would have to go back to England and be playing at a regular level at a decent enough, and Championship is about the level most of our players are at the moment. I think it was at seven. I read a piece in the Independent by Daniel McDonald, I think it was the other day, but there's only seven players played what can be considered anything like regular football or anything like Premier League starts this season, Irish players, which is a very, very low figure. But does Dawson, for example, or does Adam Brennan or Keane Levy? Keane Levy's a lovely footballer.
smashing.
Dawson
Yeah,
Devoy is a smashing footballer. Adam Brennan has pace to burn. Matt Healy, by the way, Matt Healy is one of the hardest working footballers you will come across. And they deserve that recognition, but do they have to go back to England or Scotland or France or Portugal to get back into the squad?
you'd like, in an ideal world, you'd like that they could stay in the league and have the recognition as well. But again, from the manager's point of view, you want your players being pushed at the highest level. And if they're winning leagues on leagues on leagues here, are they really being tested as much as they should be, or are they developing as much as they should? I'd like to say no, but if you really believe in that, then you think, yeah, go to as high levels as possible and keep within the thinking of the manager. I think from where Heimer was himself to seeing the quality in the league, maybe he was a bit slow in the uptake of actually have brilliant footballers here. But speaking to some players who've been in touch with the manager, they said, no, once if you're playing here at a high level, you're in Europe with your club, then that might be enough
Hmm.
to stay within the thinking. So a couple of players have said that to me as well.
Well, let's hope, and I really do mean this. I hope that at least a couple of those players get a cap against Canada for their sakes. I mean, Dawson Devoy,
Yeah,
it would be brilliant for him to bring a cap home, as far as I know, his family live over in Ashbourne, so there's a slight Meads bias there as well, Daryl. But we look
yeah.
forward to him or Matt Healy or whoever. And Josh O'Reilly, I don't know, I haven't seen him. Have you seen him, Daryl?
Just bits,
Hmm.
just bits. He has all the talent again, all the talent in the world. I think this will just be a training player exercise for him this time. But again, you want to keep the web as wide as possible and showing all these players around the country that age doesn't matter, what club you're at doesn't matter.
We
If you're
also,
good enough,
yeah,
you get involved.
but I also sound like an old man again, but we do need to be careful as well that we don't hype these kids out of all proportion because, you know,
Yeah,
what do you call him? Evan Fair, sorry, Troy Parrott was the new Robbie Keane. Evan Ferguson was the new Troy
yeah.
Parrott. Mason Amelia is now the new Evan Ferguson. Michael Noonan is now the new Mason
Macmillan.
Amelia, or whatever the case may be. We have to be so careful and let these kids, first of all, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, they need to enjoy their football. They need, it doesn't matter what age. I know you work with young kids playing football, but they need to enjoy it first of all. And for Adam Brennan, it's absolutely brilliant that he's got to the level he's got to so quickly from leaving UCD. But let's hope he gets to enjoy being part of an Ireland team and an Ireland
Yeah,
squad. And we're not running around in 6 months and saying, oh, well, he didn't get his chance or he didn't take his chance or whatever. So it's Canada. They're going to the World Cup.
yeah.
Because we've
Host
look,
nation.
yeah, we've and they're going to be cock a hoop going off to the World Cup. It's their last game before they go. So
Yeah,
let's not read too much into the game, and let's hope that those players do. Darrell, I know you cover the women's SSE Electricity League a lot, and big game, big game Friday night, of course, for the Irish women down in Parky Keeve, and there is
yeah.
a sprinkling of League of Ireland ex-players or current players around that squad. But a story that caught my attention during the week, and it's interesting, Galway United. I mean, you've obviously seen them, Darrell. They are the league leaders on merit, I would assume.
Absolutely, yeah. They've definitely been the strongest Galway United side I've seen
Hmm.
since I've started covering the league over the last few years. I think Rachel Gray said the same when she was on RTE. They just seem so strong, so resilient, so athletic that they can just wear you down in a similar style to what Athlone Town were doing over the last couple of years. And that win over Athlone a few weeks ago was just to prove that they're not to be taken lightly, that this is something serious. And Phil Trill's built something over the last couple of years to know we're knocking on the door now and it's time to let us in.
Is
So they've been hugely impressive.
yeah, is that what you and I would call a statement win? Is it?
Yeah, I think Stephen Kenny was listening to us last week,
He said
but
it,
he
did
didn't get
he?
his.
He
He
didn't
didn't
get
get
it.
his, but yeah, they mean business this year, and it's going to be a hell of a title race. I think Shelbourne just behind the top two as well.
Hmm.
They'll be in the mix, so it's an exciting league. It really is.
And the story that caught my eye because I remember seeing her play her first game for Ireland a couple of years ago. But for you and me, either of us where we're living to get to Galway, we'd have to pass through Athlone. And if you look into the left, you'll see the Athlone Town Stadium, and I think there's huge potential in Athlone. It is a proper football town. But they've appointed. Is she an ex-Ireland
Lily,
international yet, or I know she's a serious injury at the moment. But Lily Agg coming into the League of Ireland, that's a big, big stake as manager.
yeah, it's brilliant, brilliant for the league. I know she's had terrible luck with her injury, doing the ACL, and then not shortly after getting injured again. So it's going to be another long term. She's still only 32, which is very interesting to see. Somewhere down the line, could you be tempted to throw the boots on as a player manager? That's intriguing as well. But just to bring that attention again to the league, like Louisa Littlejohn did
Mm.
when she signed for Shamrock Rovers that time, it was just the attention was brilliant. It was great to see. You could see column inches in the papers, and anything they said about the league grabbed
Mm.
attention as well. And this is a hell of a statement. Um, Athlone themselves, not since the loss to Galway and then the surprise defeat. It was the game I did at the weekend. The three was beaten 3-1 and essentially knocked out of the All Ireland Cup. Now, they don't say they're drifting because they did have managers in place, but I think this will just refocus the club now and make it even a more exciting title race. And she can bring that experience as well. Like we said, she's obviously a sensational player,
So as
but
as of
no
as of
worth.
yeah, as of now, and obviously with the injury, but as of now, she's just a manager. But we may see her play in the League of Ireland, and again, going back to what we were saying about Graham Burke, but what an inspiration for young players in Athlone to see an Ireland international, a women's what do they call it in England? Is it Super League, Women's Super League? Is that the official title?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. She's just super talented, and you can if she does get the boost back on even in training. Uh, they do have a lot of a mix of younger kids now. They have the development league in the 23s,
mm,
so which is teenagers again, so they can see again, like that's the level you have to get to if you want to be an Irish international and have that drive. Then say, look, I want to be like my manager, and even to say that an Irish international is your manager is something massive for the league. So really exciting.
Daryl, it's been a pleasure as
Yeah,
always. They're back next week, aren't they? All Duffers people at the airport will all be on the return flights. I mean, most clubs will probably be
yeah,
back training fairly early over the week, I'd say, will they?
yeah. They'll have the few days, and then the strength and conditioning coaches are straight on them to make sure they're still doing their work. So they say it's a break from the league, from the players itself. It's really just a few days,
Mm.
and if you get a week, then you're doing something good. But you'll have to be doing your work because everything is monitored these days. Like
True.
so, yep, we'll be back before we know it.
Daryl, we'll talk to you next week. Thank you, as always, for joining us here on Let's Talk Football on the Sports Side. Daryl Geraghty, League of Ireland expert, I'm going to call you this week.
Thanks very much for the kind words. I appreciate it.
We'll see you next week, Daryl. Thank you.
See you then.